And welcome, everybody, to Game of the Month number 22, I think I said. Yes, that's the one. So this month we are talking about the one and only Super Mario RPG for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and more recently the Nintendo Switch remake that has been met with very universal acclaim. So I guess I'll lead us off here. I have never played this game before. This is the first time I've ever played through Super Mario RPG. I may have played 5 or 10 minutes of it throughout my life. I owned it on the Wii Virtual Console, I think. I think it came out on the Wii Virtual Console. I don't remember. But this is the first time I've ever played it. So this was a really good game of the month for me because I don't just get to BS my way through it. I played through the game, beat the whole thing, and got about 80% of the retro achievements for it. So really happy. Mop up ones suck though, so not looking forward to that. Anyway, Wiz, what is your experience with this one?
See, it's funny. It's kind of wild to me that you didn't play this growing up, but like for me, this is actually my first RPG. This was what introduced me to RPGs as a genre, and probably to this day still a little bit of a measuring stick when I play an RPG. But yeah, I played this on the Super Nintendo back in the day. We didn't own it; we just rented it like over and over again. So our parents probably should have bought it because it may have ended up being cheaper in the long run.
Ouch.
But yeah, and what was funny about it, when you rented a game, you only had it for a couple days. But then in our house also, we had a limit on how much video game time we could have in a day. And so this became a team exercise because it was an allotment per child. And so me and my siblings all sitting there. It's like, my time's up. It's your time. Here's the controller. Run with it.
Well, I mean, it's great that you were all able to like coordinate like that at least, because I probably wouldn't have worked that well. My kids definitely wouldn't have worked that well together on it. Definitely not. Kids these days don't know the struggle of renting games. Like, I'm sorry, it's a long lost art. But yeah, it is definitely an interesting RPG. That's for sure. It's not what I expected it to be in the slightest. So it was pretty cool to go into it. And I mean, it was made by Square in partnership with Nintendo, so that was a really good pedigree, especially for the era. Like, it's just insane pedigree that went into it. But I mean, at that time, personally, for me, it was like Super Mario World was about the only Mario thing that I really cared about besides Super Mario Kart. Like, any of the other Mario stuff, I really didn't give a crap about. And again, after Super Mario 64, I kind of got done with Mario games in general and like to bag on the fact that he's a sociopathic murderer, and this game does nothing to dissuade me from that. We could add thievery to the list too, with being able to steal that one dude's treasure and then lie about it. Like, that was amazing. It's like, yes, this just confirms my headcanon that Mario is scum. Oh well.
Well, I mean, he just asked if his treasure was fine, right? It was fine, right in my pocket. It was perfectly safe.
He does directly ask you if you took it.
Oh, see, I don't remember.
He does.
You just tell him it's fine.
He does.
I don't even know what happens if you tell him that you did take it. Does he take it back? I have no idea.
I don't know. I just lied to him.
Has anyone in the history of this game ever chosen that option to see what happens?
I don't know. I know that if you keep the Toad in the beginning, like, you find his wallet, like in a forest or something. I don't really quite remember. But in the first Mushroom Kingdom area, you go to the Bandit Forest and you get his wallet back from somebody. And he'll be like, hey, you got my wallet. Can I have that back? And if you tell him no, like, he'll do something to you. But I told him yes on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I stole that other guy's stuff just to play Dark Side.
Yeah. That kind of, I think, takes me into like one of my absolute favorite aspects of this game is just how funny it is. Like, how silly it can be, how good the comedic writing is. Like, some of the dialogue in this game is hilarious. The animations and things they do, like every time that Mario tells a story and starts doing his incredible charades, like, his charades game is on point.
He can literally transform into other characters.
Yeah. It's like, the game cracks me up. Like, my wife had never seen this before, and so I was playing it on the Switch, and there'd be times where I knew a gag was coming up, and I'd call her over and be like, "Check this out."
Uh, yeah, I got a kick out of that. I really did enjoy it, and the art style for the Super Nintendo was definitely more unique to me. It felt kind of clayish, but
Mhm.
not overly so, because I actually don't like clay art a lot,
Mhm.
and so this like was kind of borderline for me, but it stayed on the side where I didn't mind it, so I was really happy with that. And
Well,
just
yeah.
overall, really great scenery, and like I really enjoyed the environments. Like they weren't hard to navigate.
Mhm.
The isometric view makes some things in the game hard, but we can touch on that in a bit. Goomba Stomp
Yeah.
minigame. But we can touch on that in a bit. But the battle scenes all look really nice. And so it was just fun going back to it, especially, well, going back to it, first time playing it, rather, and seeing it because it's a very late era Super Nintendo game. So it's just able to really take advantage of a lot of what the system had to offer. Um, I can't remember. Was this an SA1 expansion chip game? I don't recall off the top of my head.
I want to say it is, but I don't remember for sure.
Just look at your cart and see if it has the expansion tabs on the side.
Yep.
All right, so yeah,
Yeah.
there we
I
go.
mean,
Yeah, it does have an expansion chip in it, so there we go. I believe it was SA1. Um, so it was just able to really get the most out of the system with that chip. So
oh, it was
really cool
great. I mean,
stuff.
they pushed the visuals on it just wonderful. I mean, yeah, the scenes, the backgrounds, and everything look great. The isometric view, like you're playing a Super Nintendo game that gave you the illusion, especially as a kid. You're like, I'm playing in three-dimensional space. This is
Oh yeah,
insane.
it
Like,
pulls it off really well. And
like you got little bits of it. Like, you could get immersed like playing Star Fox on the Super Nintendo and stuff, but like playing, Mario like that was wild.
I just like the isometric view. It really still holds up well considering how many games today are starting to go back to that kind of a viewpoint. But on top of that, the fact that the art lends itself well to it, but the movement, like you're not locked to a grid for movement per se.
Hmm.
And so it felt very free range with what the D-pad would offer. And just smooth performance all around. And I haven't played the Switch remake yet, so I don't know what they did to it, but from like the original screenshots I saw when they announced it, it looked like it was a pretty faithful port remake type deal. I'll have to have you speak to that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because they kept the isometric view. Um, it took some getting used to, and mostly because I've got more than 20 years experience playing this game, and all of a sudden my characters are like chibi, their proportions are altered. So I mean, the first, when I say that trailer started, got like two notes of music before I went, oh my goodness, Mario RPG, and and then the characters change chibi, and it's like, what have you done to my boy? But you get used to it, it's like it has its own charm. um Actually, it's like moving around felt pretty good. There were a couple points, I'm not gonna lie, some of the jumping puzzles, um the climbing the paratroopas,
Oh,
I fell
jeez.
like 5 times on that, and I was getting real mad at the game because I was like, I'm blaming the art style on this because, like, yeah, I'm not going to claim to first shot this every time, but falling 5 times is like, this is
Uh,
ridiculous.
I don't think that section was handled well in the Super Nintendo version personally. Like maybe if you grew up with it and you've played it a number of times, you get kind of used to it. But as a first time player of that section, it was a little jank,
No,
a little
there are
jank.
definitely some parts of that game that are less fair than others, and I'll say that Koopa climb is one of those. The
Goomba
thing
Stomp
is,
minigame,
like, what?
the Goomba Stomp minigame. That thing
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, but like, yeah, the visuals actually, where the visuals tripped me up the most was in combat, because all of a sudden I'm missing my action commands because the attacks visually look different. Just
Oh,
the animations, the character models are different, you know? And so all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get the critical on this, and it's like, nope, flubbed. too early or too late.
That's
I
fair.
had to like relearn how to ride a bicycle almost.
I will say that was a very nice thing to discover about this game going into it, is that it wasn't just straight up turn, like it is turn based, but when you do the attack, you can deal additional bonus damage by pressing the button at the proper timing, as you were stating, and that made it more engaging, which made me stick with the game more easily, I think, since I typically have problems playing RPGs because of my poor attention span. But because of that, it was actually really nice being able to do more damage and take less damage by pressing the buttons at the...
Yeah, I thought that was cool too, being able to negate enemy attacks. So like even when it's the enemy's turn, you're still playing, you're still active.
It was a good combat system. And you got to use 3 of your characters. There was only 5 characters in the entire game, which was kind of a letdown. I was kind of hoping there'd be maybe a little more. I had no idea going into it. I just knew that Gino was from this game and that everyone loves him for some reason. And I kind of understand it now. Dude is OP as none other. Like, just dishes out so much damage. But you also have Malo being the second original character of the game. And so that was pretty cool. Malo is your basic healer, and as soon as you finally get Peach unlocked, spoiler alert, you don't ever want to use him again.
So actually, this is a key question. We should start off with this. What's your team?
Oh, see, I was stupid and stuck with Malo because I never experimented with Peach for a while.
Oh,
so I didn't know Peach was a healer.
Life hard? You're making your life hard on yourself.
I made life very hard on myself. It's true.
Especially,
I made it to...
You didn't learn the strat then, too.
I made it to, like, Nimbus before switching to Peach. And so, yeah, I used Mario, Malo, Bowser, Mario, Malo, Gino, and then finally I was like, I should give Peach a try. And I'm like, what are these moves? Oh my gosh, team healing and
Reviving.
Status effect healing. What?
Status effect healing, yeah.
What? No, I've been doing this all wrong.
Here's the best part of that too. So it's funny too. There's so many items in this game that are missable if you don't go exploring enough.
Oh yeah.
And there's a couple of random side quests that are like just really not meant to be intuitive. Like you have to go out of your way to get some things.
Oh yeah.
And including, so did you find the lazy shell?
Yes, I got all the best weapons.
Okay. So yeah, lazy shell's Mario's best weapon, but there's also an armor with the same name because that's not confusing at all.
No, it's not, and it's not worse than some of your other armor.
Yeah. So hold on though. Yeah, because like it nukes your attack and your speed, but it sends your defense through the roof. You put that on Princess Peach, and she is nigh unkillable.
That's actually a good point.
Like I'm not even kidding. Like you can be in boss fights, and if you hit action command, you'll take anywhere from 1 to 0 points of damage off a boss attack. It's crazy.
I need to look into doing that because I still need to finish off Kolvix.
Yeah.
Because I tried that and got spanked.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about doing that. I thought I would try to get the super suit, which is the 100 consecutive jump attacks, and that is not working out for me. I got to 25 one time, and I haven't been able to get above 15 cents. Like I'm starting to look into like programming a macro for it just so I can unlock it, just so I can see what it's like. But it's like, I don't want to waste that much time on this.
Yeah. Yeah, for me though, my team, and it's funny because I get a lot of the fans of the series angry at me because once I've got everyone unlocked, I'm Mario, Bowser, Peach, and I let Peach heal, and Mario do tons of damage, and Bowser doing damage when he isn't tanking things too. But it's a team that works. You know, so. No disrespect to Gino. Gino's got great DPS, so it's like if you want to switch out like Gino for Bowser or something, that's not a bad choice at all.
See, if I could have, I would have rather had Gino and Bowser and Peach rather than Mario, but they force you to use Mario.
Mario's required, which
Yeah.
you can feel the hand of Nintendo in that.
Yeah, see, I wish that you could switch out Mario because it's like he just does so little in comparison to the other two. Whatever. I like when you equip Bowser with the throwing one, he actually throws Mario
Yep.
into people though. Like that's pretty great.
Yep.
But yeah, I eventually gave up on Bowser for the end because I just wanted to deal more damage to one hit kill more people because I maxed out all my people at 30 before
Yeah.
going into the end. So it was pretty time consuming, but overall, like even then, like it's not a very long game.
No, it's not, But I mean, at the same time, it's a Super Nintendo game. It doesn't need to be crazy long.
No.
Um, but I mean, it feels full though, and I think
Yeah,
that's part of it.
I wouldn't say
It's
that I'm disappointed by the length at all. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely shorter than Final Fantasy VI, so which I still need to finish. Um,
it's almost like when you make your game an isometric view and give it faux 3D, that takes up a lot of memory, and so you can't build as big of a
like
world.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Go figure. But
if they'd just done pixel art, but I mean, that wouldn't have been as magical.
no, I don't think pixel art would have done that game justice if it had been in a Final Fantasy pixel art style. I don't think it would have been anywhere near
Which is no
as
shade,
well
no
received
shade
as
to
it is
Final
now.
Fantasy.
No,
It's just a
no
very
shame in
different
Final
type of
Fantasy.
game.
It's totally different game, totally different feel, and I think that the art that they used for it really fit it. But speaking of, really cool to see Link and Samus in that art style
Yeah.
too, eh? So
Yeah,
anyone that
getting
didn't
those
know,
Easter
you get some
eggs.
crossovers with
Yeah, which is
Zelda
funny.
and Metroid.
Especially because, so that was one of those things. Can't remember which one of them we found by accident ourselves, and the other was one of those things a kid on the school ground told us, how to find the other. But we had never even heard of Metroid, had let alone played him, so I had no idea who Samus was. It was just someone in a really weird suit of armor,
Yeah.
And then Link didn't really know who that was at the time period either. So
Oh yeah.
it was just like, oh, here's some characters we don't know, and trying to interact with them because obviously they've got to be important and related to a quest or something. No,
They're just sleeping.
It's like your DM is trying to get you to move on because this is not part of the story.
They're just fun little sideshows. Just accept it. But yeah, that was pretty fun. So I tried to play through as blind as I could.
Yeah.
And then there's one thing I knew right off the bat, was that there's a hidden item box when you first go into the Mushroom Kingdom castle.
Yep.
And you have to jump on Toad as he's running in and jump up there to get it. That's the only thing secret about this game that I knew going in beforehand.
Was that because it was marked missable in the retro achievements?
Yes, but I also saw it in the Digital Foundry video comparing the two games that I watched like the first 10 minutes of or something, like or someone's video about it. I don't even know whose video it was, but they were talking about how that item box isn't missable in the Switch version. And everyone's super happy about that. And so I knew that was a missable thing. And then it was also in the missable list on the retro achievement. And so I was like, oh, it must be that one item box that I somehow have tucked away back here in my brain from watching this video a year ago or 6 months ago, whenever the freaking Switch version came out. I don't remember. And so I got that and I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to try to figure out the rest in this area. And then I could look at a guide once I finish the area. And so that's what I did. I would just go through and try to find as much as I can, finish an area, and then pull up a guide and be like, okay, so I missed that, and that. Okay, cool. Go back, get it, and move to the next area and do the whole process again. So I felt like I did a pretty well blind playthrough / 100% playthrough all at the same time. So it was fun. And again, it's few sections of that game really bothered me. Like I really enjoyed pretty much the entire experience. The forest maze section's not fun to revisit, but you don't really have to unless you miss something. The sand whirlwind things where you have to jump in the one the bugs in was obnoxious, but like it's easy to figure it out. Like there's nothing that just outright stumps you in this game. So can really appreciate that it's not straightforward yet not difficult to figure out. And they also gave you Frogfucius as a guide if you ever got stuck. Be like, just go talk to the frog dude. He'll tell you where you need to go next. So it's like, okay, cool.
Yep, good old Frogfucius. With his dramatic reveal, too, regarding Malo.
I know, right? You're not a tadpole.
One of those moments I had to call my wife for. I'm like, you want to see this?
You're not a tadpole. What? This is brand new information.
The dramatic chord that strikes on that and everyone being shocked.
Oh my gosh. This is brand new information. I don't look anything like the rest of you. How can I not be one of you? Oh, it cracked me up. I'm sorry.
The game's funny. I mean, that's part of it. That's part of the charm of it, right? Whoever wrote this was funny. You know?
Yeah, it was well done. And even the localization was done really well too. Like there's maybe an occasional word, like one or two words throughout the entire thing. I was like, what? But overall, like it was solid. And there's tons of funny Easter eggs too, like finding Princess Peach's panties. So
you mean her question mark?
Yes, exactly.
And getting yelled at for it.
Her unmentionables.
You know, which is the other funny thing, because you can get yelled at that twice, because you can have her handmaid yelled at you, and then after you rescue Peach and she goes to her room to think about what she wants to do, you can go in her room and then check it again, and she'll yell at you.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't do that one. That is great. Oh, man. YouTubing that after this. Yeah. I heard they censored some of that in the Switch version, though.
I mean, that was still in there, you know?
Okay, cool. That's great to hear, then. No worries.
Yeah,
Censorship
so you were doing the
blows.
Super Nintendo version for your playthrough this month. I actually went with the Switch version because I wanted to see what was different, you know?
Yeah, makes sense.
I've played through the Super Nintendo so many times, I just wanted to give it a try and, see what was what. And I was curious, too, because, for the Switch, they introduced some new mechanics, like having a tri-attack,
Oh, that would be cool.
So, yeah, when in the Switch version, this new one, they've implemented a new system. So those action skills, so basically those timings, when you time an attack correctly or time your defense correctly, it throws points into a gauge. And when the gauge gets full, you can trigger, an ultimate attack.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, and it's cool, too, because the attack you do changes depending on what your party lineup is.
Kind of reminds me of Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross with the double attacks in that regard. So that's kind of cool.
Kind of, yeah.
That's a good addition to the game. I kind of wish that made it into the original.
And it's cool because so basically it's rewarding you, right? If you're engaged and doing the action commands, you fill up faster.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
No, that's great. More engagement is always a good thing in RPGs, especially turn-based ones. Since there's a lot of people out there like me who have poor attention spans when it comes to RPGs. But I think the only area where the game started to kind of get annoying to me after a while is just the lack of variety in battle music.
Yeah,
it's always the same
which is kind of surprising because, the game has such a great soundtrack.
Yeah, the areas are great.
Beautiful ambient music, Yeah. The battle, which I guess it's kind of the Pokemon problem, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Great at the start, and then you hit a point where you're like, I'm tired of this battle music.
Yeah, I'm tired of listening to it, but I want to have the volume up because I want to make sure that I got the action. I like hearing the little special sound effect for getting the correct action, the little...
Yep.
And so, I just listen through it, and there are times where it does change. Like, when you're in a ghost area, it kind of changes it up more. Unless you get enemies that aren't ghosts, then it's just the standard one. But, overall, it's just one battle theme for a vast majority of the game, and it's just it got a little obnoxious.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure what you do about that. If it's making several different battle themes, or if it's taking the ambient music and changing it, like playing it in minor keys or something.
Something. And I
You
mean,
know.
even
But
having no battle theme and just playing the ambient music would be fine. Because the battle music just really doesn't fit some of the areas you go to later in the game. In my mind, at least. So it's like you're in the factory and it's just the same battle
I was
music.
like,
It's like,
the volcano.
eh,
Listening to the
eh,
same music you had in the forest.
yeah.
Like, yeah,
And I mean, that's a nitpick. Like, well,
yeah,
I'm just gonna say what it is. That is an utmost nitpick, and if that's all I really have to complain about the game, it's a phenomenal game. Like,
yeah. But it's also fair, right? Because it's a game that one of the key mechanics of the game is battle, right?
yeah,
And depending on whether you're just if you're a casual trying to get through it fast, or if you're someone trying to 100% it, you're looking at anywhere between 10 and 20 hours, and it's like a core mechanic with a single soundtrack. It's gonna get a little old.
yeah. And I mean, it is the same thing that you said. Like with Pokemon, it's the same battle theme in the original, like in the older ones. And so it's like, yeah, those got hecka annoying too. But on Game Boy, it's like I turned the volume off.
Yeah, everybody turned their volume off on the
Yeah,
Game
you
Boy.
turned the volume off. You didn't need to hear it anymore.
Yeah.
Like you knew what it's Pokemon. You know what it is. You don't have to hear it anymore. But there's enough audio cues for different attacks and stuff, like the jump attack that
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier. Like you want to listen to the audio to know when to time your jumps to help you try to get to 100. And so just different things like that. It was just I even tried playing the game and fast forward it a few times, and I was just like, nope, can't do it. We're gonna play this one normal speed. We gotta have the cues.
Yeah, which is another thing. So you mentioned the jumping challenge. So now they've got a visual cue for that in the Switch version. You
Oh,
can see
that's
Mario's
nice.
shadow.
That's nice. Dang, that would make it so easy. It's one of the retro achievements is to get that super suit, man. Like,
Yeah,
mm,
that's a tricky one.
all right. Oh well. I probably won't 100% this one, and if I do, I'll probably go into like save state territory and not have it be part of my hardcore achievement run, just so I can have the game like finished.
Yeah,
Like I don't feel the need to have it mastered. If I could just have it finished, I think it'd be all right.
I'm like, hold on. You pounded your head on the wall for how many hours mastering the keyless card entry in GoldenEye?
I didn't
And
master it. I used save states to finally get that one.
okay, all
So
right,
GoldenEye is
fair.
not mastered. It is only completed.
Okay, all right.
Stupid. That one's
Uh,
stupid,
All
dude.
right, I'll allow it then. I was gonna say, like, I sat in that stream with you multiple days. It's like, if you, bless you, it's
Oh,
like
thank you, thank you.
if you were willing to put more effort into that keyless card entry than you were to jump, so that you're like, what do we do? What are we even doing right now?
Oh man. Another one. The minecart mini game. They want you to beat that one in under 2 minutes and 16 seconds. I keep getting 2:19.
Hmm.
Another
Well,
interesting part of the
there is
game,
to get
though.
good, but yeah, dude, you gotta rewind. Think about what it was when you were a kid, and think about that minecart game, and how absolutely dope that would have been.
No, great use of mode 7.
Dude, great soundtrack too. No, for anyone in the Mario ROM hacking community, that song is kind of a trigger now. Good old. Well, we won't be name dropping other streamers, but it's used in a level that trolls in Mario ROM hacks, and so it's you know there's some people that can't hear that song without like also hearing the
PTSD.
choppers coming over the rice paddies.
Oh, look, my camera's like falling over. This is great.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. I was like, wow, my camera has really fallen down over the course of this discussion. And yeah, it has come undone from the mount. And there goes a bunch of controllers. Awesome.
We can just hold for a moment if you want to trim this out later.
That's all right. We'll just
All right.
go with that. I don't care.
Well, yeah. So
Y'all can see how
let's
the
talk about
sausage is
that in
made.
general too. So not just the minecart, but We got mini games in this. Kind of a lot of mini games, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, we're going down.
Yep. We are going out. What the heck?
So
All right,
your
there you go.
camera's slowly, lilting, and it's like, I'm not as think as you drunk I am, officer.
We're back. We're back.
Yeah. But yeah, things like, the minecart, which I think is maybe the best one.
Definitely.
The beetle shooting Game Boy game. Booster's Tower Race.
I didn't care for that one.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying like good. I'm just like listing. It's like the Midas
I'm
River Challenge.
saying good.
Yeah.
Goomba's not minigame.
Yeah. Your favorite.
No, see, that is where the isometric camera and the controls really screw it up. Is that one game? Like,
yeah.
Rest of it, okay, sure. That one, it's like, okay, I try to jump on the pipe and like I land on the pipe, but it doesn't count as landing on the guy because I'm just not 2 pixels lower or higher to the left or to the right. No, that's dumb. It's terrible. But whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So, but I think it was cool. I thought, like to include so many mini games, like they were just trying a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And then a couple that were plot related, like hiding behind the curtains or not getting pecked.
Those were hilarious, though.
Weren't they though? They
were really well done.
Humor. Yeah.
Where's my Mario doll?
Booster crying because he can't get the Mario doll. Immediately runs off with Peach to a chapel. What's this coming out of her eyes? Licks her face. Salty. It's like, bro, you were literally just crying. How can you not recognize what that is in others?
Oh, and then the bird one where he's like running around the screen trying to like. Because every time he tries to peck you, his helmet falls in front of his eyes. Like, it was well done. It was well done. Like, very comedic.
Yeah, you see that bird? He's a speedrunner. He went out of bounds.
Yeah, he did. Just running around in the off-screen area. Like, you try to go back through that door. It's like, hey, how do those connect? How do those two areas he was just running between connect? Like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yep.
Oh, well. Oh, man. It was really funny, though. You get to Nimbus. Like, hey, that bird's name's Mallow, too. Cool. It's like, put 2 and 2 together, bro.
Too big to get through the door. Looks absolutely nothing like any of the citizens. Looks absolutely nothing like the king and the queen.
Oh, man. He sure got big while he was gone.
So apparently anyone could just take over that whole country by showing up and saying, hey, I'm king's son, and nobody questions it.
They're very trusting people, all right?
Like, I love it. Somebody shows up, locks the king and the queen in a room and says, hey, the king said I'm in charge, and to prove it, here's the son that has been long lost. And we're getting married, so we're going to run the country. Don't ask questions.
Oh,
Kick all
man.
the servants out of the castle. I'm like,
Yep.
this is not a great system of governance you guys have.
But no one is allowed in his spa. Even her. But anyway. Then you finally beat her up and she like runs off and runs into Booster and then they get married, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The villains get a happy ending, too.
Yeah, I guess so. Booster feels like Wario before Wario was Wario, even though he came after Wario.
Yeah, I guess I see what you're saying, because Booster was foul, and that was like before Wario was foul, when Wario's thing was just being evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like Wario's Woods, or like the first Wario game came out in like, what, 93? 94? So, I don't remember off the top of my head. But...
I think it was earlier than that. Wasn't it?
Probably. Maybe.
Or...
Because Super Mario Land 2...
Wario as a character was introduced before that. So just being an army brat, knowing where I was living when I saw TV commercials, like I swear I saw TV commercials that featured Wario back in 92.
Was he part of Super Mario Land 2? I don't remember.
I don't know. I'm anger some people and say that that game's not good enough for me to have played it enough to know. I'm sorry, Mario Land 1 better than Mario Land 2. Fight me.
See, that is what most people are the exact opposite of, so it's awesome. Thank you for bringing controversy to the stream or the
Yeah,
podcast.
we've
I
been
like
too
it.
nice this time. We haven't done any drive-bys on other games, you know? So it's like,
Just remember that Waluigi's a pedophile and everything's good, everybody. Yeah, I went there.
no, say I'll come the other way and be like, Waluigi is nothing. He's a roster filler. Like, literally. It's
He's
like,
a roster-filling
he-
pedophile.
See, you can't. He has no personality besides what Charles Martinet did because they literally gave him nothing. You ask him about it, they just gave him a picture of the character. No bio, no nothing. He's just like, okay, I guess this is the voice this guy would have based on how he looks, you know? And then he started to create personality, like the whining, what about me? Just because he needed to do something with the character. Like, Camelot made him to pad the Mario Tennis 64 roster. And that's why when you look at the list of games that Waluigi's in, it's just the sports titles and Mario Party games.
Yep.
He's not
Deservedly
in
so.
the-
He's a terrible character.
He's in no, because he has no story. Like this,
Because he's a terrible character.
When people say, Waluigi for Smash, I'm like, how about we put him in a game and give him a personality? Because right now the personality he has is just fan fiction that weird fans have written online.
Yeah, and no. No, see, he did get his own game. He had a taco stand as a N64 homebrew release.
He's fan fiction, man. People were angry that the Wii Fit Trainer got into Smash, and I was like, the Wii Fit Trainer has about the same amount of official lore as Waluigi does.
More than.
And people got angry about Duck Hunt Dog. I'm like, Duck Hunt Dog has more lore than Waluigi does.
Uh,
All right,
Needless
anyway.
to say, Waluigi sucks. Sorry to everyone that loves him. He sucks and he's a
just-
douche and he needs a bath.
He needs Nintendo to actually care about him enough to write him a story and a personality before we start fangirling for him. That's my 2 cents on the matter.
Not even then. Not even then. He's just dirty, nasty, disgusting character that deserves to be written out of history. There, I went there and said it. There's my drive-by for this one.
See, and I just say, I'm like, he's only in sports titles. Like, what did he do in any of those sports titles? Like,
Made inappropriate looks at Daisy and Peach. He's worse than Mario. Like, Mario's at least honest about being a psychopathic murderer.
all right. Well, we were talking about Mario RPG. How did we spin out of control on this? But
You
I guess
said we
talked-
hadn't bagged on any characters, so we had to make sure we
I
included
guess.
that
All
here.
right. Tangent then. Let me go through. What have we gone through? We've talked about the art. We've talked about the music. We've talked about the combat and the action system. We've talked
Characters.
about the writing, the story, the characters. Yeah, it's. We talked about the mini games.
Replay value. I'm not
Yeah.
sure there's much here unless you really, really love the game. I don't think I ever need to really revisit it myself too often after having experienced it during this game of the month.
I think that's maybe because you went for 100% playthrough, like on your first go. Like
I
trying
mean,
to
that's
retro
fair.
it.
That's fair.
Like
That's fair.
You were making this a very difficult thing on yourself, I think.
And it wasn't that difficult.
Yeah. I mean, for me,
I mean, granted, I
like,
had a guide.
I think the gameplay's fun, but like it's the story it tells and the funny and silly way that it tells that story that just makes this fun to come back to.
Yeah.
This isn't one that you'll play every month, but it's like pick it up once a year or so. Just
Yeah.
have some fun with it.
Pick it up again in like 2 years. We could see that. Maybe we'll
Especially-
revisit it for a game of the month again down the line. Nothing says we can't revisit a title. Be a
Yeah,
lot
I
shorter
guess.
discussion.
Depends. We might get some new people in the group who have very, heated opinions about some of the things we've been saying. We've been throwing shades at their favorite part of the game.
That's true. That's true.
Maybe somebody thinks Goomba Stomp's the best part of this game.
Then they are fools.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, I think for me, I want to beat Kolvix. I think that's the name. And then I could be happy with where I am in that game. And then maybe I'll mop up the rest of the retro achievements in like a year or two down the line. Because I made a second save file. So I have the one save file that's outside of the in-game and the other one that's in the middle of in-game. Because I don't think you can leave once you're past a certain point. Once you're in the factory. Because I don't think I saw a way out. And so I was like, glad I made this first save up here before going into it, because then I can go back and revisit the whole world at will. But yeah, like that Kolvex boss is brutal, so I want to beat that. And I'm gonna definitely put the lazy shell on Peach, because that would definitely make that a lot easier, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember how much damage Peach is going to take from Kolvix with the shell on, but like fighting some of the other bosses, like it just negates so much damage.
Yeah.
Then that question of managing your inventory and your flower points.
Yeah. Flower points was kind of cool though. Like I was glad that you got to expand it as you played through the game.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? The one thing that I wish had been easier is if you could have used your teammates' special attacks or special moves for healing, even when they're not in your party. So when I was using Mario, Gino, and Bowser for a minute there, and so I didn't have a healer, and I'd be swapping in Malo, and then using the ability on the other two, swap one of them out for the third one, heal them, and then swap Malo back out for them. Like, that got obnoxious. But, I mean, that was just my own lack of understanding of Peach having group heal.
Yep.
Seriously, though, finish Nimbus before I use Peach.
Those pick-me-ups. Those pick-me-ups are just for reviving Peach. That's all you use them for.
Yeah. That was one thing. Like, you get so little inventory space. Like, you get, 30 items of space?
Yeah, and then they cap you pretty low, too. Like, only letting you hold 10 of an item, and you're like, well, what are me and my 2,000 pieces of gold supposed to do, guys?
It's so hard to get gold coins in the beginning, and then you just start overflowing with them, and then you unlock friggin' Kamek, who gives you the gold block where you get infinite coins out of it, so you never run out of money.
Oh, and then all the times you get, trigger the lucky effect, too.
Oh, yeah.
You get to gamble your points or your coins, which that'll say the Switch version, like, in like a 3D view, made that free. Like every time, like when I'm playing the Super Nintendo, like I look at it and I'm like, okay, do I want to bet or do I just like really need this guaranteed smaller payout? But on the Switch, it's like bet every time. Bet every time. It's so easy to follow that Yoshi egg.
See, that's what's funny.
You get one of those items, I can't remember what it's called, that forces the lucky. Go into a boss fight and drop that, and you're like, yeah, we're doubling this XP when the boss fight's over.
I would always miss it by the left or by the right by one. Like, I'd always get a tie. It's like, I could have sworn that one was it.
Tie's good. Yeah, it's hard to tell on the Super Nintendo, especially once it starts to spin real fast at the very end. You're like, well, now it's just a 1 in 3 chance.
Yeah. What's funny is, like, I always felt like it was ending up in the middle. Like, every time. And so I just started guessing the middle every time, and it was either a tie or it. So it's like I never lost anything. I never got the you lose one, except for maybe once. And it's like, oh, well, who cares? Like, it was crazy. It was another fun little addition to the battle system, though, so I liked it.
Yeah, being able to double your XP or double your coins.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty nice.
Oh, yeah. It was a fun playthrough. And I think that's just where I got to really leave it for myself is I'm glad that I finally played through it despite my lack of interest in Mario titles for his sociopathic tendencies. So I'm glad I finally played through it. It was a very fun RPG to play through. It was very interesting, had great humor, and it was humor that I could actually appreciate, unlike some other games that are supposed to be great because they have great humor written into them where I'm like, dude, that fell on flat ears here. Banjo-Kazooie. Wait, what? Anyway. So if you haven't played Mario RPG, newest version of it is available on Switch, so definitely would recommend people check it out if they have a passing interest in RPGs and or Mario games. And if you're interested in both, well, there you go. You just doubled your reason to pick it up.
Yeah, and there's they did not like tons of changes, but enough changes to it that it made it a fresh experience, even for me who's played it so much on the Super Nintendo. Being able to swap out party members in battle is one thing.
Oh, that's cool.
When you know like your overstocked items getting sent to your house so you can go retrieve them later. That was kind of cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, so they'd be like, "Oh, your inventory's full. We're gonna send this to your house. You can go collect that at your leisure." Adding the ability to just exit from an area and go to the world map. That was cool.
Oh,
You know,
oh, it all sounds so nice.
it's pretty nice. You might want to give it a try.
Maybe that's a version
but
I'll
what-
play in a year or two.
Yeah, and there were other things though where it was just interesting. They changed the names on some of the characters, and I'll say one of them made sense to me. Because of the times, they changed Princess Toadstool to Princess Peach. That's the modern name that we're going with. So okay, fine, whatever. But some of the names of other characters changed, and in ways that I don't know if it was just they looked at it and they didn't like the localization. Like Mac, who you fight at the beginning, the Pogo enemy,
Yeah.
changed to Clay Morton, which is kind of like almost like a Claymore, but not,
Yeah.
And it's Yardovich or Yuridovich or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
They changed him to Spiritovich. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just no. Here's the one. When you said Frogfucius, I was like, oh, my boy, because in the Switch version they call him the Frog Sage instead of like Confucius the Frog. Frogfucius. They just went Frog Sage. I know. How boring is that?
All right, that's a dumb one.
I know. So
It's like the other
it's a
one's
small
okay,
thing.
whatever, but that one
It's a small thing, but it's like
insulting.
it is. When and that's the thing is like if you'd never played the Super Nintendo version, you wouldn't even know, and it wouldn't bother you. It's one of those things that just if you've played it enough, you're like, oh, that's different.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that it's different. Doesn't ultimately impact the story. It's just an interesting decision was made here.
Yeah. Just as long as they kept Todovsky alone, I guess.
Our composer who rips you off for all of his original compositions. When you were ripping off other people too, so it's like he's copying the copy.
See, Mario's dishonest.
Here, you want another random drive-by? It's like, what do you mean? It's like their song goes do 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 do, and my song goes do 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 do. It's totally different, guys. It's a completely different. I didn't rip off Queen. It's completely different.
Oh,
I definitely did not
gosh.
rip off a collaboration between Queen and David Bowie, some of the best-known artists in the world. I definitely didn't do that. That's definitely not the reason I went and bought the rights to that song to prevent any lawsuits. Definitely not why that happened.
Oh, that's too good. All right, so I don't think I really have anything else to say about this game. So I guess we'll go ahead and call it there unless you have any more closing thoughts for us.
No, I mean, I'll just, add on to what you said before that this is a very approachable game. It's one that, adults can easily play. It's one that kids, as long as they can read, on their own, should be able to jump into and, figure out how to play. So it's a very approachable RPG, because sometimes that genre can be super complex, require you to know a lot. Some RPGs assume that you already know how D&D works, that you know how these classes or jobs and things work. And this game doesn't do that, Anything you need to know, it explains in the game. And, I think it has a lot of charm, and charisma to it that makes it fun to play even today.
Definitely. Definitely one of those games that holds up really well. But Wiz, thank you for joining me today to talk about Super Mario RPG. And be sure to leave your comments below about your thoughts and feelings for Super Mario RPG. Get this discussion rolling. And join us next month, well, in like a week and a half, because we are super late for this one, for our discussion on Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. So, looking forward to that one too. I have a lot of fond memories of that one. But again, you can join us in the Discord and in chat and the comment section below to share your thoughts and opinions on these games as we play them. And it's always fun to hear from each and every one of you. So thank you to everyone who has participated. And looking forward to seeing you all again next month. We are closing in on the 2-year mark of Game of the Month. And, oh, that is insane to think about. But anyway, Wiz, once again, thank you for joining. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been fun.
All right. We'll see you all back next time.
Bye.